So only 3-2 against a very good Farsley side. Are you disappointed or?
Yeah, I am really. I think could have been 6-all.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, and that's no disrespect to the defenders. I just thought both sides had some real good quality in the final third. Their two forwards are a handful. Strong, big, athletic.
And you throw Matty James in as well on the left.
Really bit. Being, you know, they're the best team that we've played in a long, long while. And
did their opening goal, would you say, come against the run of play? I think they created a couple of good chances.
Personally, I think we should be at least 2-0 up before they score. And you know, I know the players look at these and I'm disappointed in them, and I've told them. I think there's a way that we play and we tell certain players to do certain things, and they haven't done it today, and we've been at 2-0 and then we're playing catch up against a team who I believe being really, really strong. I'd love to go and watch them against the Darlington or the Warrington. I think it'd be a cracking game.
One defeat in 12, I think, for them now, and that was to Warrington.
You know, even if anyone in the top, you'd love to go and watch them against them, because they've got experience, physical, you know, very strong. And
Adam Priestley on the bench.
Well, you know, that goes without saying really, doesn't it? You know, they've got a really good squad. Neil's and Simeon have brought a good squad together, and you know, fair play to us. That, you know, we finished 3-2. You know, could have been 6-all. It's one of those days, isn't it, where you know, I don't think I've ever beat Farsley. So I've always been 2-0 up against them. Never.
Oh no, we did win last season. 3-1 away.
3-1. Sorry, yeah.
Brace.
Yeah. So, but
yeah, they have
no, we've got no. You know, the only complaint I've got really is I think we should be doing better in the final third. But that's somewhere where we know we're lacking. You know, Craig scored. You know, again. But for me, you know, I think other lads have got to you know, chip in. I think we missed Joe Evans down the right hand side with his little bit of trickery, his little bit of magic. But again, you know, Joe Evans doesn't score enough goals. You know, I think we need to start popping up with goals from elsewhere. You know, Jamie needs to start popping up with some goals as well. You know, it's not good really when we're relying on certain players to score. You know, they've scored goals. Centre half scored today. I can't remember the last time one of our centre halves has scored. You know, it's been a long time ago. So, you know, in terms of, you know, we're disappointed losing the game, but you know, I think if you don't take your chances, then you're not going to win any games at all.
Young forward by Paul Foy has come off the bench again today. Could he be close to a start?
I think what we've got to be very mindful of Foy is he's 18 years of age. He's raw, he's inexperienced, and you start him and he doesn't have a good game, and does that knock the kid's confidence? You bring him on when in a game like that and he's a game changer. Yeah, he does okay. Yeah. You start him, he doesn't have a good game. So, you know, we've got to be very, very mindful of young Foy, and he knows. I've spoken to him about it. You know, Foy's going to be a quality player, but with these young lads like Paul Foy, you know, he's playing against Land of the Giants there today. They're 6'5", big, strong, physical, athletic players. You know, you put him in and he gets a knock, or it affects his confidence. So, as a manager, you've got to be very careful. It's easy for me to say, yeah, he's going to start, but at the same time, I've got to be mindful of his development, and he's developing really well with us. He's coming on, he's doing well again, and you know, he's knocking on the door, shall we say. So, you know, we'll see what happens in the next week or two. It
doesn't get any easier, I suppose. Kendal away next week and Darlington to come this month away. Some tough games ahead for Leeds. But I suppose they're games that you relish, I suppose. You always want to take on the best there is to offer, so...
Yeah, as a manager, they're the games that you want to be involved in. As a player, the games that you want to be involved in. You know, people keep saying, you know, like about last year, how well we done, and you know, our record's starting to become a little bit broken really for me. I want to improve the club and I want us to take us in the right direction. But you've got to be realistic as well, haven't you? And you've got to look at the resources that we've got, which are fantastic. But you've got to look at, you know, we've got 70 people in the ground today, not even that. Press your cables on Wednesday, I think the attendance was 59. You know, I don't know what we've got to do to get bums on seats in this ground, because you ask anybody, we're not a bad side.
No.
You know, we play some good football, and you know, are we just destined to stay at this level of football? I wouldn't like to say yeah, but I think you've got to, you know, you got to look at the bigger picture, the broader picture. You know, if we go up and we're going to places, you know, like a Farsley or a Chorley, who get, you know,
600-700.
yeah, and you know, it'd be great for us because it'd be like an away game every week at home. So you know, we know what our resources are, and we know what our limitations are, and you know, have I took this club as far as we can go in terms of being, you know, recognised at this level of football? Yeah, I think I have, to be honest with you. You know, I think I've done really well, and I want to continue to do well. But I've got to look at the bigger picture in terms of progression, and you know, if we went up, I think we'd struggle. And I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that for this club, because it's tough enough as it is getting people in now. Imagine if every week you were getting, you know, you were getting 4s and 5s stuff past you. You know, so we're happy where we are. It's great having these mad runs and getting into playoffs and whatever. But as I said, and I've said it on record before, it was a blessing in disguise that we didn't go up, I think, because you look at the teams around us and close to us, and you know, Shea Dysart, you know, was offered double his money. You know, we can't compete. We can't compete financially, and we can't compete in terms of, you know, getting bums on seats in the ground, because, you know, as a player, you want to play in front of crowds. You don't want to play in front of, you know, and I'm grateful for the fans that turn up. This isn't a dig at them, you know, because they come in. But, you know, we had 900 at a playoff final, 700 at the semi-final.
20% of that would be nice.
I've said 10%.
Yeah. I'm greedy.
No greedy. You know, if we could get 3 figures in here week in, week out, maybe then we could look at doing something special. But you know, at this moment in time, we are where we are. Hopefully we'll stay in this division. I think we've got more than enough quality. They'll tell you that as well. You know, I think we've run them very close today, and we've run everybody very close. We've lost twice by 3-0 Warrington and Northwich this season. We've played everybody, and there's only one team we haven't came up against, and that's Ramsbottom. But we've played everybody else, and we've given everybody a game. We've won our fair few, and we've lost our fair few. So you know, it's not all doom and gloom, but you know, I think people have got to realise, you know, there are a lot of people who stand and watch, and you know, they're third in the league.
Yeah.
We've just lost 3-2. We had a poor first half performance, come out and had a goal in the second half, and deservedly, you know, got back into the game. But you know, if you make mistakes like we've made today, then you know, that's going to cost you in the end.
So Kendall next week, mate. All the best.
See you soon.
Cheers, mate.